Oh boy, RJ. That one wasn't pretty. I mean, it was a pretty first 19 minutes, actually. That was pretty good.
Yeah, awesome first 19 minutes. I had my rave reviews all written ready to go about how this Kraken team has changed. They're doing all the right things. Uh, we can never have that for too long, can we, Dylan?
No, we cannot have good things is really ultimately what this all turns into. Granted, we did get a good thing. Loved Everett on the call tonight. I liked
Yes.
his energy and enthusiasm. It was something different, and for me, it's more my jam.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love the feel of it and everything. Like Everett did a fantastic job. He's so descriptive too. He's got that
Hmm.
radio description. I felt like I didn't even need to watch the game. I could tell what was going on,
Yeah.
just from him saying it. So I mean, yeah, great job by Everett on the call. Obviously, love the historical aspect of it too with
Hmm.
Everett and JT. Good for them. And aside from that, Everett's just he's got good broadcasting chops. He's gonna do awesome.
Yeah, I figure we'll probably talk more about that all later after everybody's vented. We'll vent and
Yep.
get over the negatives. And then when things turn positive, usually around the half-hour mark of these.
Hmm.
So we'll go ahead and jump into comments now while people still trickle in here. Ty, just with the yup, because
Not at all.
that was a Kraken game. Yep, and Michael with the pain. Yes, definitely feel some pain. Anytime you got I mean, 2-goal lead, RJ, most dangerous in hockey. What can we say?
That's the cliche.
Yep, and they're cliches for a reason sometimes. Hunter, this is one of the most inconsistent teams I've ever watched. It's not like they get blown out usually, just major losing culture already. So it's clear that there are issues. If anybody follows either my personal account on Twitter or the Emerald City Hockey account, I talked about the mental lapses, about kind of, building off what we talked about last post game live with this team and the, it isn't that they lack physical effort, right? They're skating, they're doing all that stuff, but the mental consistency, the mental effort it takes to do things like screen the goalie. Hey, we got a goal off that. Move bodies around in the offensive zone to get the defense all confused. Hey, we scored a goal off that. But to do those consistently for a full 60 minutes, it's just not really there for this team.
No, it's not. They just can't string these things together. And that's what makes it so frustrating is that you see them do it for stretches too.
Mm-hmm.
You know they're capable of it, but they just can't do it consistently. And it's just plagued them from day one of the season. And still haven't found any answers for it.
Right. And I think where Hunter brings up the losing culture, I don't know that I would call it a losing culture, but there's certainly problems when it comes to things like motivation. Okay? You give up that late shorthanded goal right before the end of the first period. Obviously, if you don't do anything, that will affect morale. That affects everybody going back to the locker room. Everybody's like, damn, that sucked, right? All it takes, though, is one person to be like, hey, there's 40 minutes left. We still got a lead. We're going to be starting on the power play the next period. Like, there's a lot of positives here. It's a good thing it happened right before the end because we can stop the bleeding right now, reset ourselves, go back out there. But yet again, we see this is not a coaching staff that apparently can do that, and it's not like a leadership group on the team that can apparently do that.
Yep. It's just nowhere to be found. It's something that other teams have. This team just does not.
Yep. Rough one. Christopher enjoyed Everett on the call and the first 19 minutes. I think we're all in that boat tonight.
Two best parts of the game.
Yep. Michael Grubauer back to being terrible in those pads. His angles were way off tonight. Yeah, I mean it was back to old school Kraken Grubauer. He let in a couple he probably should have, and the defense just said we're not gonna help you at all on some other ones.
Yep. Again, team effort in that regard, but certainly, especially that
The
what was it,
Dubois
the
one.
second the Dubois goal. Just you have to have that, and that's a big turning point in the game too. He absolutely has to stop that shot.
Yeah,
No
and
screen, nothing. Just beat him to the side.
right, and I agree. I think that was largely an angle issue based
Yep.
on where it went in and just watching his body language as it happened. It was rough. Tyler, that goal allowed at the end of the first period killed us. The Kraken looked phenomenal leading up to that. They did again. if you got like a good leadership group, you got a good motivator somewhere, you can survive that. That's very on that we've seen other teams survive it. It is possible. I don't
And you
know.
still got to lead at the end of the day.
I know, and you're starting on the power play in the next period. Like there's so much there, and they just didn't, do anything with it. And hey, maybe Gio's in there doing his best, and it's falling on deaf ears. I don't
Hmm.
know, but obviously there's a disconnect. We've seen it too many times this season. When it comes to motivating, that is clearly a problem with this team somewhere in the chain. Braun, I'm a sucker for a blue line slapshot goal. I am slash was Preds fan, and Dunn brought me back to Weber days. Yeah, I mean, those were the days. Remember Nashville, Shea Weber? Those were incredible.
Oh yeah, all the weapons they've had from the blue line over those years too. Weber, Subban, just
Yossi.
incredible what they
Yeah.
Yossi, incredible what they could
Yeah.
do. And yeah, that done goal is as good as it gets.
Yeah, and again, getting bodies in front.
That's the key. That's the key. Comrie could not find that puck at all.
No.
You
I mean,
just got to hit.
he was almost on the wrong side of the net for it.
Yeah, because he was moving around trying to find just a lane so he could see, and that's what it forces goalies to do. And Dunn just has to hit that spot.
Yeah, and he did. It was beautiful. Just wish we could see it more often. Talk about the inconsistency of it. Like, it's sometimes they do that and it works, and then other times they don't and it doesn't work. It's just frustrating. Hunter, call me crazy, but inconsistent play reflects poor coaching. Probably at the end of the day, right? I mean, from a motivational or just getting people game ready. I mean, it's kind
Yeah,
of
certainly. In a general sense, absolutely. I mean, you look who's got to be most responsible for inconsistent play in any sport, in any situation. It's got to be coaching. At the end of the day, the buck stops with them.
yeah. They are the ultimate leader of the team. Team captains play a role in that. Obviously, players themselves have to figure out ways of doing it themselves. But end of the day, it is the coach's job, literally.
Yep.
Ty definitely enjoyed Everett tonight. He killed it. We both agree. Michael, Everett Fitzhughes, legit. Really enjoyed his call of the game tonight. Glad everybody enjoyed it. Lindsay, at least it was a close game. Better than the 3-0 shutout last time we played the Jets. Yeah, I mean, we were manhandled in that game.
Yeah, completely. And Hellebuck was in net for the Jets that time, and he just had clear sight lines the entire game, never got in front of him. So it was great to see the Kraken, at least for the first 19 minutes, take those lessons to heart and really make it hard on Comrie. Didn't continue, but yeah, it looked very different than the last game against Winnipeg.
For sure. Greg, not a good combo when defense is bad and the goalie is bad. Alexiak had maybe his worst game of the year tonight. This was, I mean, I might have to agree with that. This was a really bad game from Jamie Alexiak.
Yeah, just rough all around for him. Was not looking particularly good at any point, and of course that inexcusable turnover down low to set up the Jets goal. You can't have that.
No, you can't have that one. He just didn't seem to be playing with a lot of confidence. Like we've seen Jamie Alexiak, he plays with confidence. He's got that swagger. He's gonna, bring the puck in deep in the offensive zone and stuff. And he just looked like he was, I don't know, lost. Like it was just very strange to see that from him.
Yeah.
Stratic, the first 19 minutes were awesome. Was there any more game after that? I can't remember. And unfortunately there was, and unfortunately I can remember it. At least for now.
Well, yeah.
Yes, it was rough. Joshua, oof, that was rough. Gruby did not play a good game. No, it's like I said, it's just back to that old school. Grubauer lets in a couple, defense just doesn't do anything. Like on the shorty at the end of the first period, just Eberle with that, disconnected controller moment.
Yes. Absolutely, and that's something I noticed right away, and it's something that we've kind of, you talk about consistency, we've kind of seen that consistently from him over the last, I don't know, most of the season, really. I think there's just kind of this, I don't want to say laziness, but just lack of defensive awareness too about when you need to really be stepping up and moving your feet, because clearly he didn't feel like he was in a dangerous position there. No. I mean, he just looked relaxed.
Yeah.
Which you have to know that in that situation, you can't be relaxed. That's your guy who's skating right by you, about to go in for a 2-on-1. And I think he just assumed someone else was back there. That wasn't his job, but it was his job.
Yeah.
And he needs to know that.
Yes. So much of this game, it's hockey. It's a free flowing game. Not a lot of stoppages. It's not like football where every play ends and then you reset. You got to react to just what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're seeing a Jets player and no Kraken player there, in that situation, you just got to go and be the Kraken player there. Like, that's just the way it is, whether it's your responsibility or not. That's just hockey. Um, let's see. Hunter, another Gru should have had it goal. It pains me to say, but Drieger should be the starter until Gru builds more consistency, or at least until Gru switches back to the old pads.
Yeah, one or the other. I know the pad thing. Now we can finally have a game where I guess maybe you could chalk up some of the goals to like pad area type of things. But yeah, I give Drieger more of a run. Like he's finally healthy. Let him have it.
Yes.
Just see what he can do with the starting job, basically.
Right. Assuming he's healthy, let's do it. There's no reason not to be doing it at this point. Lindsay, 3 stars and 3 duds. Now, 3 stars is going to be a little bit difficult in this one. The only one that like I for sure 1,000% Ryan Donato.
Oh, okay. Donato, he was going to be one of my 3, but Marcus Johansson for me also.
Okay.
I mean, he had the goal there. He had a big shot block, and then he was what was the other play from Johansson? I noticed him a few different times where I'm like, okay, he's going to the right areas. He had a good one where he threw the puck in front of the net to Eberle on the Eberle goal.
Yeah.
He was around a lot of offense. So Johansson for me, and then
I know Johansson had a good game. He had some, again, iffy stuff on defense, but I think literally every player did tonight. So I guess I can't really hold that.
He generated as much as he did offensively, like for a team like the Kraken. I'll
forgiven. Yeah. Donato for me definitely belongs there. He has the big screen on the first goal from Dunn. He was, again, consistently trying to create offense during that second period, during the first half of that third period where the Kraken just looked dead as dead could be, essentially. Donato out there pushing, driving to the net, trying to do something. So appreciate the effort from Ryan Donato. Trying to think of a third star. I mean, maybe Vince Dunn.
Yeah, you could argue Vince Dunn. Yeah, let's go with Vince Dunn.
On a night where the defense didn't play well, I at least don't remember singling him out in my mind for making a bad play. So that kind of
helps. He did some creative things offensively, so I'll go with that.
Yeah, 3 duds. Alexiak's there for me. Grubauer's there for me.
Grubauer.
I don't know. Yanni Gord, maybe?
It's just one play. I was going to say it's just one play, but I got to think Yanni Gord. I mean, that boarding there. I mean, 1, that's a dangerous play. There's that element to it. And 2, in a close game like that, the score where it is, and you could tell he was upset with a non-call. He was kind of barking at the ref a little bit. You've just got to deal with it. I mean, you can't just go and immediately make a beeline to the next player and obviously board him. And,
yeah,
you just can't do that. That you're going to get that called against. You're going to put your team at a disadvantage. I know they killed it off, but it's the kind of thing that just shows that you're not, kind of as a team, not mentally under control. That they're bothering you, and it really helps your opponent too. You love to see that as an opponent.
Yeah, you for sure do. Just could not tell you what was going through his mind there, other than he was just angry and upset, and it's unfortunate. I do want to bring this up because I mentioned Ryan Donato, and I mentioned, we've talked many times, and you obviously brought up Johansson. Okay, so when talking about the mental lapses and maybe the lack of mental effort put into things and stuff this year, I have a quick question for you, RJ.
Okay.
What are essentially the 2 things that motivate professional athletes? What are they out there for? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
I know. Well, their teammates is the first one that I was like, for each other. We're a group. We compete for each other.
Okay.
I don't know. Was that what you're going for?
Well, I'll tell you that I was going for, kind of championships, right? They play to win.
Okay.
All athletes are out there,
right.
A lot of them to win. That's what they care about. That's their singular focus, right? And then the team building stuff goes alongside that. But in a day and age of trades and free agency, right? Like those teammates can change, whatever.
Right.
The other is money, right? You're putting your body on the line. You're gonna have a short career, right? You got to make as much money as possible before that ends. And traditionally, those have been the 2 things that have motivated all professional athletes. The Kraken are a team right now because someone referenced the tweet I had put out about their kind of lack of mental focus and the lapses, talking about how maybe the upcoming trade deadline kind of has them off balance because of that, right? There's lots of talk about essentially everybody's available. A lot of guys could be moved. Maybe that's throwing them. But if you're playing to, well, one, if you're playing to make money, almost everybody we've been talking about that is probably going to be moved at the deadline, they're in a contract year. You should be playing your butt off because you're in a contract. You're trying to go enter free agency and make as much money as possible. Traditionally, that's how
Yep.
it's always been. The other thing is, if you think you're going to be traded at the deadline, odds are you're going to a team that's headed towards the playoffs, or at least will be competing for the playoffs. If you care about winning a championship, you'd want to play well now so that a good playoff team wants you come to the trade deadline, and you can leave the team that you're probably going to leave in free agency anyway that isn't going to the playoffs to go play for a chance to win the Stanley Cup. And I just feel like with this team, all the upcoming UFA guys, some of them are playing better than others, but like I just feel like I don't think that the deadline really has anything to do with it at this point, because really it gives them all the incentive to try to be playing better.
Right. If anything, it should be pushed in the other direction. I think that was really well said there. Yeah, all the incentives are in the other direction to play really hard. So no, I just which makes it tougher to figure out what exactly the issue is.
Yeah, other than a culture thing. Like
Yep.
that's at the end of the day, like that's just where all
What's
signs
left?
point, unfortunately. Kraken Hawk, ugh, another loss. At least Everett and JT sounded good. Do you suspect they might be the long-term TV crew when Forsland leaves or retires? I know 32 crew, or uh, put that out there. Kind of talked about that, I think, earlier today, about the idea of, this could be what we see if when Forsland, goes.
It's certainly possible. I mean, obviously JT is, the top
Yeah.
color commentator. That's already a given. But yeah, I mean, Fitzhugh and the team did mention that I think in some press release that, they did want to work him into a game or a few games this season because, they see the talent there. I think we all see, how good he was. So
Mm-hmm.
it certainly wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. Obviously Forsland, a legend in that, in that area,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to have whatever, he's going to be able to broadcast as long as he wants to. But after that might be the case. It certainly wouldn't surprise me to see.
No, and I think it makes sense. And I think, yeah, if you, for the next, couple years, you sprinkle Everett in,
Hmm.
on the nights that you can or whatever, get him some experience. And then once JT gets more experience too, because you
Yep.
can have one of the two sides be, inexperienced, but I don't know that you could like go through a whole season and you want that necessarily with both parties being kind of inexperienced in that regard. I will say that
Yep.
was the one thing tonight that did get me. I felt like I heard less JT Brown than normal.
Yes,
Um,
and I think part of that is just Everett again being so descriptive, so having to follow every bit of the play. Like you have to do that on radio. You absolutely
mhm.
have to do that on radio. You've got to paint the picture yourself.
Right.
And I think that just didn't leave as many gaps for JT, and that's something you can work on with practice. But again, it's game number one.
Yeah, it's game number one, and I think also we know JT, because he's new and he's been learning. He hasn't necessarily injected himself into the conversation a ton this year, either.
It's
You
true.
know what I mean? And so I think it was a little hard in that regard. And first time working together in that capacity, it's hard to know when someone's gonna break. Like you need to build that chemistry up.
Yeah.
All right, Joshua. No huge fan of the back. Not a huge fan of the background, RJ.
Yeah, I see Lindsay. RJ, what is that Kraken food on the wall behind you? Where's the ECH flag? Okay, so I am down. I'm in California actually visiting my family. This is my childhood room that I grew up in. That's an Evgeny Nabokov jersey on the wall. He was my favorite player growing up. So that stays there. We got a cool Miracle on Ice poster there, a little to the side, but didn't quite make it into the shot. So that's hopefully a little bit better. But yep, that's what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, and hey, we're hoping to get some good content out of your childhood home there tomorrow, hopefully,
Yep.
when we do
Yeah. Let's
the
see what we got in store for that.
Red Glare podcast, maybe some more, and gonna go ahead and mention it for Patreons. For patrons, I put up the Connor Geeky video today, scouting video today, so that's up there. If you're a patron, go check it out. Anybody else, link in the description below. And what that means is the Shane Wright video from last month is going public tomorrow. So if you're not a patron, Shane Wright video tomorrow, scouting report, should be a lot of fun. All right, let's see. Ty Drew is
We got.
solid.
I think we get. Have you got a super chat from Braun yet? You seen
Oh,
that?
okay. No, did it just come through? Yeah. All right. Yeah, so Braun, thanks so much for the super chat. If Hack is here next year, is that a failure by the front office? Been talking about it a lot, RJ, but boy, it does seem like things are getting worse and worse.
It does. I mean, ultimately, it still depends on these final 30 games. But if, I guess what's the line? If today's events run their course into tomorrow and so on and so forth, then yeah, quite possibly. I mean, I think if we don't see improvement over these mental lapses, over the things that they really should have control over,
Mm-hmm.
if they're playing the way they did on that, East Coast road swing where they're playing solid defensive hockey, they have an identity. The only thing that's not working is okay, maybe they're a little short skill wise.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can excuse all that. That's fine. But if we're still seeing these same mental lapses, then yeah, I think they've really got to look long and hard. Okay, is he the guy?
Right. For the first time all season, I'm getting the sense that he's just not. Right?
Yeah,
Like we've been in this boat so many times now, and it's just
Mhm.
not getting better. I guess we got a power play goal tonight. That's like the one like
Yep.
improvement thing we can
Of
say.
course, they're still net zero on the power play.
Yeah, because you give up the
So
shorthanded one.
yeah,
It it's just it's brutal. Ty, Drew is solid if you have some defense. It was ugly tonight in the D zone. Offense pinned to the outside half the night also. Same old. Yeah, it was. Like they have stretches where they play well. Good on them for digging deep. Eberle gets that one to tie it up at 3, right? That was
hmm
something. I didn't necessarily think we were going to see that from them, but they didn't really use it to build momentum. Like I've
right.
never
No,
seen
they
a
didn't.
team just not capture a moment like that and kind of weaponize it to finish a game off or at least get to overtime.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know. One of the regular teams do that.
I know, it's kind of nuts. Stratic, Everett with the deep cut slam on JT regarding the apparent 1980s rivalry between their respective alma maters. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember what it was. Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember exactly. Help us out in chat because
Yeah.
I mean, and I do like the back and forth, and that was something I was looking forward
Mm-hmm.
to because, like, I see them kind of behind the scenes, just like watching practice stuff. They've got good banter, the two of them. They
Yes.
really do. So I was like looking forward. You never know when or if
No.
or like how long it takes to get that to come out on air because that's a process in itself.
Right.
Like we know that,
Yes.
But yeah, so like they're great behind the scenes. So like the longer that they're together, the more games they do. Like you're gonna see good stuff like that.
Right. And it's you know, let's be real too. It wasn't the easiest of games for them
No.
either. That second period, I mean, I would have struck. I don't know how they managed to make it through that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Talking about stuff. So definitely want to give them props on that. Lindsay, 50 games into the season, only 32 more until this first disaster of a season is behind us, and we can focus solely on how bright our future is. That is true. We're getting close. It's kind of crazy. We're at 50 games already. It doesn't
I know.
feel like it.
Yeah, to see that 50 now, a game 50, like whoa. Oh yeah, it's been a lot.
It's been a lot, and in some respects, it's felt longer just because we're seeing so much, but so much of the same. But it's been
Yep.
a journey. That being said, been so happy we've been doing these post game lives for all of them, and
Yeah.
hanging out with you all.
Yeah,
Uh,
50th post game live.
yeah. Brian, hi family. Yep, I loved Everett's call. Loved Dunn's play. In general, 4 goals against on Grubauer, but that second one, I shake my head. Raised his left shoulder so high when it was a direct glove save call. So say like the angle was weird. He was just all over the place. Like I don't know
Yeah,
what he
and,
was doing
and
on
that
that one.
technique it also kind of I don't know, to me it kind of it says that he doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in, where
Mm-hmm.
he's positioned necessarily or his movements. It kind of points to again lack of confidence because there's two things you can do. You can go try and get it with your glove, or the other thing you can do is the kind of, hope it hits you, but it's still not a
Mm-hmm.
bad, strategy. It's just like this,
Yeah.
where some goalies will do that, but that's not really the situation for that.
No. No. He just kind of like like it
hmm
was just lack of confidence I think is the key there. Ty, I did see Shahan looking behind him on defense, so I'm thinking it's being talked about, but yeah, still super streaky. um did see and looking behind him on defense. Well, yeah, I mean Shahan has been one of the few bright spots like consistency wise all year. Again, contract year player and someone who's bounced around a lot. you know,
hmm
Shahan, he could easily be out of the league, at any time. Kind of like with Donato, right? Donato's putting in the motivation and that energy every night because he was very much on his way out of the league. Kraken don't pick
Yep.
him up, he's probably in the AHL this season. So I feel like that we're seeing it from the guys that are desperate. Kuhlman coming in, Zarnik coming in, right? All the guys that we've been really impressed with, and all the stuff that they've been really trying to drive the offense. Again, the desperation's there because they're trying to stay alive. I want the desperation to win and or at least go make money in a contract year. Like, I'd take that, you know what I mean? It is a motivator. If it's getting you to play well, that's cool. But just not really seeing it. And like I said, that's just very odd for me to see athletes that way.
In the chat, they're helping us out. The banter between schools was Bowling Green, Everett versus Minnesota Duluth, JT.
I was going to say, we know JT went
Bowling
to
Green
Duluth.
won the national championship. So that's what it was. Thank you. Let's see, Brian and Lindsay for pointing that out.
Nice. Yes, thank you. Hunter, the shorthanded goal was a momentum killer. It was, but you get almost saved by the bell there. I really think you can turn things around in the locker room if you try in a situation like that.
Even if it bums you out for 10, 15 minutes, you can get past that. You've got the next period.
There's a lot to focus on that you could use to build off of. Stratic, Seattle held Winnipeg to 29 shots, only slightly above the season average. Yes, talked about that a lot.
Good
in
at
the
the
last
shot
one.
suppression.
Yep, shot suppression still great. Gotta take away some of those shorthanded breakaways from the other team. That'll probably help with the goals aspect. What can you expect from the coach? What can you expect from a coach out of the Leafs organization?
Yeah.
The
Leafs.
Leafs and Flyers.
Chat. That's cool.
Yes. Apologies for not being able to read it, but yes, fun to have. And yes, Hack. I mean, Leafs and Flyers. It's not exactly the greatest organizational resumes there.
No, not really.
Cameron, at least we got a power play goal. That is true. Like I said, we got that. That's something. Lindsay, I miss my free boys, Fleury and Borgen in the lineup. I got to think they're going to be seeing a lot after the trade deadline, because I got to think the fact that we haven't seen them means nobody's going to be offering a ton for them.
Yeah, probably not. And we pretty much all know Gio's going to go and maybe one other. So it's going to open up some spots. They'll be free boys again.
Yeah. Ty, still no idea if there is a system and that's the issue, or if there is no system and that's the issue. Crazy being 50 games in and we can't figure it out. The only system I know is the drop pass entry. Yes, and boy, what a system that is. It's wild. I mean, we talk about it almost every night. The fact that we can't figure it out does really kind of say something.
It really does. And like every game now, I'm thinking about it, trying to figure out, trying to find patterns, and how the guys react, how they're supposed to play. And I mean, like, you look at the first 19 minutes of this game, it didn't look anything like what we had seen, really, and then the rest of it, then it kind of devolves into it where it doesn't look like there's a system at all. So I couldn't tell you.
Right. And again, to be honest, if there was a system, I don't know, based on the way the players are playing, that they could stick to it. Like they're just so not present in things. Like we talk about the turnover, the Alexiak turnover. Like he just doesn't even look like he's there. Like he's not paying attention to what is happening. That's a problem. Blue Hours production. So 32 games till the Paul Maurice hiring is announced.
I like the whole Paul Maurice, like, aside from Haxtell, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Like, I like the whole Paul Maurice, Peter DeBoer, that whole coaching tree. I'm a fan. So
yeah, I am too. I would not be upset by that if it was to happen. Strayatic, Fleury and Borgen were adorable on the mini mic video from yesterday. I know I still haven't watched it. I know I've been busy.
It's good. Fleury with the mini mic is automatic gold.
Fleury with just about anything is automatic gold. Let's see. Rock Todd, how many times do we need to see Grew blow it? Had Hackstall lost the locker room? Chris needs to step in now. Yes, I mean, I think we can all kind of agree we want to see more Drieger at this point.
Yep, more Drieger.
Michael, why so many turnovers? The Kraken are only consistent about the only thing consistent about the Kraken is turnovers and bad goaltending. Unfortunately, I don't think Michael's wrong.
Yeah, it's something that it's come up more than anything else, good or bad. The turnovers, and they're just, you can't explain them, because it's ones that the players, they know that they've been coached that way since they were kids. It's not like it's not part of the system. The Hackstall isn't telling them to do that.
No, it's just, and again, how do we have so many people that like they're amazing puck distributors at everywhere they've ever been before here, and then they get here and they cannot make passes to save their lives. Like, I don't know what that's about either.
Yeah.
It's certainly contributed to the turnover problem a lot. It's just weird. Hunter, this team is just frustrating to watch at the moment. Yes, it is. There's not much to say.
Yep.
Cracking me up. Maybe management needs to remind them what they're playing for. Yeah, I mean, Ron Francis maybe should like walk in with like a giant check or something. Like, and just be like, does this work? Like something. I don't know. It's weird. I mean,
first star of the next game gets traded.
Yeah,
go.
Yeah, really. I mean, I've said many times I'm a big proponent of guys being self-motivators. They're professional athletes. This is their job. You should be able to find a way to do your job. Like, that's, everybody kind of has to do that in life. But I also get it. There needs to be that leadership element of it too, and it just doesn't feel like it's there. Strayatic, Alexiak has been a bit of a letdown compared to expectations all year, but especially off since returning from injury. Now, I originally thought that, RJ, until we did our mid-season grade stuff, and I dug into the analytics and stuff behind Alexiak, and I liked what I saw there. Like, he's been a pretty, or at least pre-injury, he was very good at, starting in the defensive zone, and guess what? We're not in the defensive zone by the time he's off the ice. Like he was doing a good job of helping the team generate offense.
Yeah, a lot of the little underappreciated things, I think, when you really dive into it. But since returning from the injury, no, he hasn't been himself. I think that's been pretty clear. And given, again, we don't know exactly what it was. It was lower body, but he mentioned it was some kind of freak thing.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was still some lingering whatever. I don't know, but it didn't sound like a usual lower body injury.
No, and that could certainly lead to the lack of confidence that we talked about earlier, too, depending on where he's at recovery-wise and all of that. Greg, here's a positive. Dunn, as many of us think can agree, maybe a star in the next few years. Yeah, I mean, he's good. He's a good offensive defenseman. There's no argument there. Love his shot. Love his instincts. I want to see him start to, clean up some of these weird pinches that he'll do and how he handles kind of one-on-one defensive situations. That's really where I think he's struggled this year defensively.
Yeah, and then offensively be confident enough to try some of those kind of unique plays that only he can make, that we only see every now and then. Put those together more consistently too.
I think that's going to come, if when Gio gets traded. He'll move to the top power play unit, and I think that's going to help him out a lot. Lindsay, RJ, oh yeah, talking about the Nabby stuff. All right, I figured it out, guys. Trailing by 1 in the first is the key to Hackstall's system. Up by 2, guaranteed loss. Love them anyway and hoping for better next game. Maybe there's something there.
Found the key.
Gosh, I wish it wasn't, but maybe. Ty, I think I heard 121-1 when down going into the third. Insane. And also now 123-1. I mean, look, you're losing going into the third. That doesn't, not all those games are going to be by 1, right? Whatever.
Right.
But that's still unbelievably bad.
Yeah, and I think the Kraken have also gone to the third close a lot of times, at least within one
Most
goal.
of their losses have been close. Like, very few times have they just been blown out. They feel like they've been blown out a lot, but usually that's because of games like tonight where they have a lead and then they give it up and it just makes it all feel that much worse. Brian coming in, though, with the super chat. Thanks so much, Brian, as always. After watching Panthers-Canes game last night, it really hit me what we need. Aside from the stellar goaltending we don't have, is the fact that our tape-to-tape passing is sloppy. Florida and Carolina are so crisp. It is. I mean, and at this point, it doesn't even look like they're always trying to make good passes. Coming out of the defensive zone, particularly late when they needed a goal in this game, the defensemen are just chucking it into the neutral zone. Like, they're not even like trying to target a player and be like, okay, I'm going to hit this guy as he's building speed and he can enter the zone and do. No, it's just not my problem.
Yeah, they're sending the puck to an area, just kind of hoping that someone is there. which is never the way you want to operate. And it's not the way that the most skilled teams operate. And Brian, I'm so glad that you brought up that Florida Carolina game, because I watched that. I loved watching that game. Great game, by the way.
Hmm.
But you watch those two teams, as skilled as they are, and yeah, it's crisp tape to tape passing. The players know exactly where they're going with the puck, and they're so skilled that they can open up a lot of holes too, to kind of make those passes. You have to respect, basically everyone who's there on offense, because they know exactly what they're doing. And yeah, sloppy is not a word you'd really categorize for any play in that game, pretty much. And especially, like, you can see the difference too with the extra man when the Panthers pulled their goalie down late. Making those passes across, they knew how to use that extra man.
Hmm.
And it just makes all the difference there.
Yep, for sure. Lindsay, got a question for you, RJ. Since you're
Brian asked, said, Dylan, don't say that, but you're so right. It's just funny what you're saying.
yeah, I know. Um, Lindsay's got a question for you, RJ. Since you're up there as a press box a lot, how difficult is it to announce play-by-play? Do they have a cheat sheet with the lines in front of them, or is it all just looking at jersey number?
Ooh, I like that question. That's a really good question, Lindsay. Yeah, so I'm in the press box a lot. It's cool because if they're sitting closer to the middle, I can hear it live. Basically, I can hear, John and JT kind of commentate the game live, which is awesome. But yeah, it's difficult. It's not easy. You've got to make sure you've got the numbers. You have to, like, kind of keep up too. I mean, you can't really get lost or get stuck anywhere. It's got to be like this flow of consciousness that's really
Hmm.
hard to really do. I mean, if you try and just call a game yourself, like take a clip of the TV, mute it, and then try and call everything that's happening, you will get tripped up so fast. I mean, it's
Hmm.
not easy to do that. But as for the cheat sheet, so it's incredible. If you have ever seen one of these, like, cheat sheets that these broadcasters have, it's got player numbers, it's got a bunch of information, it's got like little facts, things to bring up throughout the whole game, and they spend hours preparing this before the game too.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. I guess you could Google it maybe somewhere and find one. I've seen one. Bob Miller, the old
Hmm.
Kings broadcaster, came into one of my classes when I was in college, and he brought one of those with him, and we could kind of look through it to see what his notes looked like. And it was just amazing going to see through that. There's just so much in there.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring up Bob Miller, and I thought of him earlier during the game as well. Yeah, so I was going to bring up two things. One, Bob Miller always talked about that and talked about how difficult it is and how how surprisingly hard it is just to say everything that you're seeing. Like, as a concept, that doesn't seem like it should be hard, but it's actually extremely very difficult to do for any period of time. So he always suggested to anyone looking to, even thinking about it, he was just like, go to local pee-wee baseball game, high school sporting event, whatever, take a tape recorder, your phone, just try it. And then, like he said, you'll know after like 10-15 minutes if this is something you ever want to try to do again. I remember him saying that at a conference once. The other thing was Doc Emmerich. Back when the NHL was with NBC Sports, they obviously they had Doc Emmerich do all their national games and everything, and he was fantastic. And they did do as he was gearing up to retire, they did do a little like special with him where he walked everybody through the process, or at least his process and everything, and the little book that he had. And yes, he would have the like basic sheet with everybody's name, number, so that he could really quickly refresh his memory if he needed to on that. And then yes, he would watch morning skates, write down the lines, see all that, and then as you turn the page from that initial cheat sheet, it's like all the information from all the players so that he could bring that up on the broadcast. And they used to have that special up on YouTube. NBC Sports, they did always put up those specials on YouTube. I don't know if they're still there or if they got rid of them when they lost the NHL broadcasting rights. I don't know if that's a thing, but I do recommend anybody, if somebody wants to go even now and just type that into YouTube and see if it's there, because it's a really good look at the job that play-by-play people do from one of the best. So
Yeah, absolutely. And Reading ID also pointing out, Forrest and other broadcasters sometimes tweet out their press
yep.
box setup, including their notes. Always love to get that peek. So yeah, on Twitter, you'll see that occasionally too.
Exactly. Generally you'll always get a good look at how they take their coffee as well. It's, Michael, if it's a culture thing, then doesn't Hackstall have to be on the chopping block? Yes, I do. And I think if it is a culture thing, and that is being seen, certainly by someone like Ron Francis, that is being seen. And so I do think if the season ends and like a day or two later Hackstall's gone, that'll answer our questions about culture and what they think about the culture and who they put the blame on and whether or not they think it's fixable.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I mean, I also know that should be obvious too if they fire him right away, but until that happens, kind of thing, I don't know. Reading ID, they definitely get a cheat sheet, which is why they're always telling us every player's hometown. Yes, because it's always, it's like their bios on the NHL website, right? This player, this number, date of birth, place of birth. There you go.
Yep. Pierre Maguire is the one guy who just has all that up here.
Just all of it. And I mean, some of the stuff he'll bring up it's incredible, and the way he does it is equally as incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Pickles just stopping by to say hi, everyone. Between the Sounders and Kraken tonight, it's been thoroughly meh. It's been a rough night, Sergeant Pickles, but glad you could make it. Autumn, how different is this team with an elite goalie and elite coach? The coach part is hard to evaluate, but it's clearly been bad. I think if this team has a coach that's a motivator, I mean, like the game tonight legit makes me go like, oh, maybe we should have had Boudreaux. Because if they have a motivator, games like this don't happen. If they're afraid to go back into that locker room after giving up that shorty, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, and I think there's a big difference because we've seen what they have talent-wise. We've seen what they're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly with elite goaltending. I mean, that alone, if you look at the stats and, Grubauer's, the goals saved above expected, bring that to league average. Mm-hmm. And you've got 20 goals extra saved. So yeah, I think it makes a big difference. It's probably a playoff team.
They're certainly in the hunt.
In the hunt.
In this division, they're in the hunt.
Goal.
Yeah. We're certainly talking about a lot of different things this time of year, that's for sure. Rating ID, guessing JT also wanted to give the spotlight to Everett on the big broadcast. I agree with that. I think that was part of it too. Ty is in San Jose, RJ. Passed right by him.
Nice. Yep.
Joshua, time for an important topic of discussion. Any word on a mascot lately? I think that the perfect opportunity would be the Nashville game on March 2nd, Kraken Day, 3-2.
Oh, see, that's good.
That's true.
No new word on the mascot. The last I heard is we're gonna take our time.
I legit think they're banking on people forgetting right now.
Yeah.
It is wild. Remember when we were gonna have it before December was over? Cameron, I know. Cameron, we made some bad decisions passing the puck back in our own zone tonight. Yeah, we did. I mean, turnovers were rough. Things were just, it was. Ugh.
Yeah, particularly on that second goal.
Yes. Sergeant Pickles is done working himself into must-keep territory alongside Jared McCann. I think so. I think he's arguably kind of been there. I think the front office especially has, they want him. They like what he can do. They really believe in him. So I think he's going to be around for a while.
Agreed. Yeah, given what they think of him and how the team is built, yeah, I think he's already there.
Yeah. This is from Bud. I love this team no matter what. Y'all see...
Slavkovsky.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, for Slovakia, we should draft him, in my opinion. Have you seen it?
Seen what?
The Slovakia USA stuff?
Game? No.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I was on the plane for that one. I was flying down here.
Right. I was going to say, now, I have a friend from Slovakia, everybody. So, okay, I've been hearing it, let me tell you. So, just saying. Completely unrelated to hockey. He is not a hockey fan at all, by the way. But this makes this, finds its way to him anyway. No, I just haven't been able to watch Olympics.
Yeah,
I've watched way more women's than I did.
Well, that's the thing. I've watched a good amount of the women's. I have not watched a single men's Olympic game this year.
Yeah, and part of it's just the broadcasting, like the time thing has been difficult, but also just the way NBC's been handling these broadcasts. They'll start them on one channel, switch them to another sometimes. It's just, I don't know. I've just found it difficult. Let's see. Sergeant Pickles, idea for end of season tier list with players ranked by how much to how little you should keep them. I mean, we'll certainly talk about that once, after the deadline, as far as
Yeah, and I
upcoming
think
free agents and everything.
Brian brought up another idea on Twitter the other day where it'd be like a pre-deadline thing of like heartbreak level, but like losing any given guy because just about anyone might be on the trade block
Hmm.
here. That might be a good one to do. Work it into a podcast or something.
Yeah, for sure. Sratcher, GG is a Jets fan. Hope you guys can build a great team in the future. Matty Beniers looks like a beauty. That is the one thing that Matty Beniers looks great. Riker Evans looks great. We're gonna have a good pick this year.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah,
future
for
is
sure.
bright, as Lindsay put it earlier.
And thanks for stopping by,
Appreciate
Strat.
that.
Good to
Yes.
get some away fans here. Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Hunter, seems like most of the players are coasting, just waiting till next season. Besides the one playing for a contract. Yeah, but that's the weird thing. Some of the ones
Even the ones playing for a contract look like that.
I know it's been rough. Bright.
Also, one more thing. Sorry for Stratcher. Yeah. Jets fans are awesome, by the way.
Oh yeah,
love Winnipeg Jets fans. So knowledgeable, great fans. Just got to do a shout out to the Jets fan base. They're awesome.
Yes. Let's see. Valentina, bright spot. No D-man left skate goals. That is true. I mean, it feels like the first game in a long time without a puck going off the left skate of one of our defensemen.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out, Valentina.
it's the little things. It's the little things. Again, improvements. We were talking about things they've been improving on. That's one of them. Lindsay still sitting cool at a 10.9% draft lottery odds of getting that first pick. That is true. It is. We're right in there. Things have been getting a little close, but the Kraken are doing their part.
Yeah, for sure.
In it all. And again, quick reminder, if anybody didn't hear it earlier, Shane Wright scouting report video goes up tomorrow. So, and
after that game, we know you want to see it.
Yep.
Shane Wright video, perfect timing.
Yep. Grizz Smash, very conflicted on tonight's result. I like both these teams. That's all I'm gonna say. Well, it's one of those, whenever you got two teams you like playing RJ, it's always difficult, but it's also nice in the sense that someone's gonna win.
Yep. Yeah, can't fully go wrong.
No. Sergeant Pickles, is missing Turbo and Schwartz the reason for lack of energy at times? 1,000% think that that's part of it when it comes to Turbo. Because Turbo is a guy that we know can get, he gets angry, he gets motivated, he'll go out there and he will create, just energy and motivation for a team. What's the word? Momentum. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
Like he just creates it.
Exactly. Yeah. Not having Turbo, that has a noticeable impact. And it was felt right away too. I mean, just kind of how things turned on a dime when he went out. Yeah.
Yeah. Schwartz, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's certainly helped to have him back, I think. Ty, so come playoff time, who are you following? I'm jumping back to my childhood team, Colorado. Rumors they're trying to get Flower and Giroux. I know, I did see that the other day, that Giroux really wants to go there. That would be interesting. I don't know how he'd fit in.
It would be. I don't know that he necessarily fills a need. I mean, it's just a luxury. But I mean, like, obviously, anytime you're adding Giroux to that team, you're going to get better. But still, it's... Yeah, but it'd be good for Giroux. It'd be good to see it like offensive super team.
I think he'd look good in those jerseys. I think the colors with the ginger beard and everything, they'd look good.
I would, yeah. But I'm come playoff time, assuming the Kraken don't make it, I have to root for the Florida Panthers for Joe Thornton. He deserves a Stanley Cup.
Joe Thornton deserves it, and just the Panthers. I mean, it's
it'd be a great story too. Great team. Yeah,
bring the cup to the swamp. Let's go. And Ty, I can watch any series in the playoffs, though. I mean, that's true. And that was one thing I thought about tonight. I was thinking, and obviously we got to talk about this off air, RJ, but what are we going to do with, like, this stuff? Because, like, I'm going to miss this when it's gone. And certainly if there's hockey going on, I feel like we got to do something.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out because we can't just, like, quit this cold turkey. We miss you guys too much.
Yeah, for sure. Stratic, Oilers out shooting Ducks 32-17, leading 5-2. Like Vancouver, a different team after coaching change. I say hang on to Hack till first game next season, then fire him and get a 7-game win streak started.
Maximize the coaching change mojo.
That is generally what happens. That's for sure. Ty, and there it is, 4 periods for me now in the SAP Center, and not one San Jose goal. I hope they aren't saving them for the Kraken. Sitting by some Vancouver fans tonight who are having a ball. I'm sure they are, and historically speaking, they are not saving them for the Kraken.
No, the Kraken are actually one of the few teams that can solve them.
Any update on Schwartz? Lindsay wants to know. Feels like he's been out a long time.
Nope, not since he touched the ice. He's touched the ice. Really, he can't yet handle a puck, so he's
Hmm.
still a ways out. That's kind of the big update is he's still not stick handling, so that
Yeah.
tells you he's got a ways to go.
Yep. Rating ID, Forsland and other broadcasters sometimes tweet out yeah, okay, we talked
Oh
about
yeah, we
that.
got that. Yeah.
Valentina, absolutely love the short video breakdowns. I'm going to add them to the Hockey University OneNote that I set up for the hockey noobs at work. Yes, I was actually just thinking about this. I was going to bring up the videos that you did on Twitter tonight.
Yeah, no, I thought I'd just give something new a try. See if I could basically like telestrate a bit from my notes app. I think the update on the phone situation. I'm gonna get a new phone
Yeah.
in like about a week, and it's gonna have a little like stylus pen to it. I think I might be able to like draw some cool stuff. So I don't know, something I could just do quickly. If you guys like it, I again ask for the feedback, and thank you for those who gave feedback. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, I liked it.
I don't want to step on your toes with the whole whiteboard
I know
thing.
with the whiteboard. No, it is nice because like on Twitter and stuff we can use the footage like that. Like we can't on YouTube
Upload on YouTube.
Yeah, or anything.
Kind of have
So
to do quickly.
yeah, so
But it's
I
definitely
think it
something
works.
you could do too. Like I'll show you how to do it when I
Yeah.
see you next, like on the phone.
Yeah,
But yeah,
we could start doing that. I think it would be nice. Let's see. Rock Todd, Doc doing a Kings Blackhawks triple overtime playoff game got me hooked on the NHL. How could it not? I mean, just a
I know.
triple overtime game in general gets you kind of hooked. If you make it through that, you're going to be a lifer.
Oh, for sure. And I know the game you're referring to. Like, and that whole series was incredible. Those Kings Blackhawks series. Yeah, that'll get you hooked on hockey.
Yeah, and Doc was the best at those. I don't know how he just never ran out of stuff. And energy and just consistent start to finish, regardless of how long it was. Absolutely brilliant. Autumn, feels like we've seen barely any Turbo since that announcement that he would be featured more during his recovery.
You're right. I hadn't thought about it because
point.
again, he just hasn't been around. But like they did the one announcement before the game where they had him like at the intro and everything, and then that's been it. So yeah, I'd like to see some more of him somewhere. I thought we might see him at the skills showcase, but no sightings there.
I know it's been interesting. Autumn feels more and more like Hacksaw needs to go after this season. Feels like we need a fresh start, which is ridiculous in season 1. I don't think Hack is the type of coach you regret firing. I mean, it's just the theme of the night.
It really is, and I mean, like we're kind of all at this point where like if this continues, yeah, we all agree, but like it needs a little bit more leash because you'd hate to let a guy go in the middle of the first season, regardless of circumstance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least everybody's kind of on board with the waiting till the end of the year now. We're not getting
at least we got people on board with that. Yeah.
Elias, can we get a refresher on how the lottery works for the NHL draft? Yeah. So, here, I'm gonna bring up the exact odds per spot. You want to like do the overview real quick?
Okay, so the way the lottery works, and it feels like it changes every year, a couple years.
Because it does.
Because it does. But the way that the lottery works is they essentially the top 2 picks are both lottery picks. So they'll do a drawing for the first pick, they'll do a drawing for the second pick, and each team has there's certain odds, and it's based in reverse order of standing. So last place has highest odds, second last, second highest, so on and so forth. Now the couple wrinkles that they added, the newest wrinkles that they've added is I believe the most you can move up is 4 spots. Is that correct, Dylan? The recent one. So only the top 5 teams can win the first pick.
Yeah.
Double check me on that.
I know.
I believe that's the case. And then the second one is they added limits to how many times in a certain year stretch that you can win. And I don't know if that took effect last year, if that was the first one that counted.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's so complicated.
Yeah,
but basically they're going to do a drawing for the first pick, then they're going to do a drawing for the second pick. And that's how it'll work. And they each have their odds that Dylan's looking up right now.
Yes. A team can jump up 10 spots. The 4 spots was the way it used to be.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember that back in the day. You could only move up 4. So really only if you finish bottom 5 did you actually have a shot at the first overall pick. It's 10 spots now. I'm on Tankathon, everybody. It's got a nice little graph. It tells you the odds for all the teams at which pick, all that stuff. And then it has a whole determining draft order and all 10 things that go into determining it. it is so overly complicated, and it changes on us all the time. But this is doing a good job. So yeah, if you finish dead last, you got a 25.7% chance of getting the first pick, which, you know,
Okay.
it seems like a good incentive not to have teams totally tank into the absolute basement. You only get a quarter of a shot, but that drops down to 12.1% if you finish second worst. And then obviously the Kraken, the only other team at double digits at 10.9. So it does still pretty much incentivize you to be as bad as possible.
Yep. Pretty
regardless. So yes, again, I wish we had like short, succinct, like, you know, logical answers to give, but they just don't
The
exist.
league has made that impossible for us.
They just don't exist. Sorry. Reading ID, Maddie Beniers was absolute fire in that game, but I'm with you guys. Other than that, only watched the women's team at the Olympics. Yeah, it's been rough. And I don't know, obviously having the NHL around draws attention. I don't think it's that there's a lack of NHL players there. It's just like, you know, if I'm going to be staying up to watch a game, I'm going to stay up to watch an NHL game. I'm just not going to stay up to watch an Olympic game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed. I don't know. And at least, you know, during like the knockout round, the stakes haven't been really high yet. Like, I'm going to probably watch the gold medal game.
Yeah, well, for sure. It's a gold medal game. But,
so,
but otherwise, and also being on the West Coast, like a lot of the games are like 5 a.m. for us.
Yeah.
If I was East Coast, if I was East Coast and it was 8, like that's more doable.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. Brian, great. Yeah, we talked about that already. Brian, I've watched every game for U.S. men's hockey, and Matty Beniers not only looked great with the mitts, but saw him absolutely took the team on his back. He's a Kraken, and we need that moxie. I agree. I think he's going to do a lot for the culture. I mean, we've talked about that several times.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, he's going to do so much. He's exactly what the Kraken need. And yeah, when he arrives, it's going to change some things.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, RJ, did this really happen in Columbus? What? From Medeiros here? Goals off our own skates suck, but we at least never had one of our own guys shoot the puck into our own net. Like Peak?
Yeah.
Did to Elvis. Silver linings. Did that happen tonight? Oh my gosh.
Trying to look this up real
quick. Mean, was it Medeiros, if you're still here, was it at least one of those where they're like swatting at it to clear, and on the back swing they accidentally knock it in? Because I've seen that happen several times. But or was it just strictly like you know, did a little bit?
Oh no, it's like it was a one-timer right in front of the net. He was trying to kind of clear it wide, but it went right into the net. I just saw it. Yep.
Awesome.
This is what peak performance looks like. The caption is great.
Yep. It's brutal. Autumn, Frozen 4 ends April 9th. How quickly can Beniers get himself into a Kraken game? Pretty dang quick after that. I mean, I guess it also depends on...
fly pretty fast. You can get, travel stuff. Let's take a quick peek at the schedule here. April 9th. So the Kraken play on April 9th, so not then. Assuming he goes to the final, April 12th in Calgary. That would be the date I would circle.
Yeah. I was going to say, maybe academics have something to say about that. School year probably isn't over April 9th. But, you know, I feel like universities kind of have this whole online learning thing down after these last couple of years. So my guess is you could make it work that way
Talk
too.
To a professor, figure something out.
Yeah. And I only bring that up because he has talked many times about how committed he is to the academic side of it all. So I know for some people they would just be like out of there, but it doesn't sound like Matty Beniers is that kind of guy. Pre-med, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. Brian liked the video breakdown. Striatic, great stream. Better luck next time for the Kraken. Agreed. Thanks, Striatic. Joshua, RJ, love the goal breakdown. Totally want more of that. Dylan, I did watch the geeky scouting video. Fantastic. Thanks very much, Joshua, for the kind words for both of us. And then also Joshua, with the deep dive, Red Glare live commentaries, post games, and a strong Twitter game, makes ECH must-see content. Good night, all. See y'all in a couple days. Thank you for everything there, Joshua. Love it.
Yeah, thank you, Joshua.
That should just be our little like sign off, our little like ad spot for ourselves right there.
Yeah, there we go.
Reading ID, apparently Turbo was on the pregame last night, but we don't get that on ESPN. I'm so mad we don't get pregame, postgame, anything on ESPN. It blows my mind because we get it for some other teams. So like obviously it's not a broadcasting like rights issue.
Thing. It's a root thing actually. I've seen people talk about it, complain about it. Yeah, root blacks out everything that's not the game.
Yeah. Ty logging off, second period starting there. I'll have to yell with the Vancouver fans for a bit. Demko doing Demko things. Thanks for the entertaining postgame as always. Oh, you mean blowing it for John Gibson in the goalie tandem at the All-Star game? Those kinds of things? It's all I have to hang my hat on right now. That's
I know, right?
Lindsay, oh yeah, definitely don't fire Hack mid-season. Do it after the season so that the new coach has a full training camp to get guys brought in. Start fresh for next year. Agree with that. And Michael, percentage of top 3 picks, Wright, Savoy, and Cooley, all top pick worthy players to me. I agree. We're gonna make the next scouting video is either gonna be Savoy or Cooley. I'm gonna make that the poll on Patreon tomorrow for everybody to vote on because they are definitely up there. They've been playing well. Obviously got to see some Savoy with the geeky stuff. So
yeah,
fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Everybody seems to be logging off. It is getting late. We're doing this for an hour. Thanks everybody for joining us. As always, we had a really good turnout tonight considering the game that happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very happy
you guys
with that.
Are the best. We say it so many times, but like you guys are the best.
Absolutely. All right. So that's going to do it. Make sure to keep your eyes out for the Shane Wright video tomorrow. And then we're going to be back. And reminder to patrons, right? Next game is on Saturday. It's the Calgary game, and that's going to be a live commentary.
Yep.
From us.
It'll be an extra fun one because we are in the same state.
Yes. Yes. Maybe we'll do it together. We got to figure that out.
Yep.
But yes, gonna be a fun one. So just a reminder for everybody who subscribes to the Patreon, Connor Geeky video, couple of live games coming up. Next 2 games, live game commentaries. So a lot of fun. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see y'all next time.